ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं तो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं अर्जनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंश कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य कम कृति वाचालम पंगम लंघयते गिरिम यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम। हरि ओम। हरे कृष्ण। I think few devotees are busy with some things. Anyway, we will continue our discussion on the Bhagavad. So, we are continuing our discussion on the fifth chapter of the seventh canto, the pastimes of Sri Prahlad Maharaj. The legendary set of interactions between Hiranyakashipu and his son Prahlad are very interesting. Hiranyakashipu being the epitome of demoniac attitude and also the epitome of materialistic attainment. For both of these to be combined is a very rare combination. And that is the peak of terror for all existence. There's no shortage of demoniac people in this world, but not all demoniac people are necessarily so powerful that they can really, really terrorize the universe. But Hiranyakashipu was a combination of both. As we learned in the previous chapters, apart from Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, practically all living entities were under the control of Hiranyakashipu. So, on one hand is the epitome of asuric behavior, and on the other hand, his own son, strangely so, the epitome of Vaishnava qualities. And pretty much unknown to Hiranyakashipu, who is only now discovering. You know how when Hiranyakashipu was busy performing his austerities, his wife Kayadu, the mother of Prahlad, was in the ashram of Narad Muni, where Narad Muni would give instructions to Mother Kayadu, and Mother Kayadu, though herself not listening very uh, with that much faith and that much taste, but the little Prahlad in her womb was listening to everything with great interest and great faith. Every word that was coming from the lotus lips of Narad Muni, Prahlad was Not just listening, but internalizing. Uh, so this is also a very interesting lesson. The benefit that we will get out of Harikatha also depends on how we are approaching the Harikatha. Even when the person who's instructing is a pure devotee like Narad, it is not that the same result happens to everyone. Even for the narration of Bhagavatam for that matter. Shukadev Goswami is speaking not just to Parikshit Maharaj, but he's speaking to a whole assembly. You can see the backdrop, so many sages sitting here. Shukadev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit. But the transformation that happened for Parikshit, not necessarily the same transformation happened for everyone. So sometimes we are so much complaining about, oh, this is not happening in my life, that is not happening in my life spiritually. And we are very busy on blaming external factors. But very little do we actually introspect in our own heart to see how actually receptive we are to the process of Krishna consciousness, to the message of Krishna consciousness, to the holy names, to the sadhus, to the seva of the Lord, to the service to the deities. The benefit that we get when we perform any anga of devotional service, like Prahlad Maharaj said, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevaram Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atma. The benefit that I will get by narrating the Bhagavad, the benefit that you will get by hearing the Bhagavad, depends on the consciousness with which I speak and the consciousness with which you hear. When there is great faith, great attention, great relish, the effect is superlative. So Prahlad was transformed. His mother is not particularly known to be a great devotee, though she was the actual primary audience of whom Narad Muni was speaking to, at least from an external perspective. Because Narad Muni knew who his actual target audience was in the womb, but at least at an external level. So there is this very interesting interaction because Hiranyakashipu has no idea who this boy is. He's thinking, this is my boy. He will grow up to become a first-class demon like me. So he sends him to Shanda Amarka's college, Shukracharya's University of Demonology, makes him learn lessons on Artha, Dharma, Kama, politics, divisiveness, diplomacy. And we discussed in the last couple of classes how this interaction between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad was actually very unsettling and disturbing to Hiranyakashipu. Why? Because every time that little Prahlad was brought by Shanda and Amarka in front of Hiranyakashipu, and whenever Hiranyakashipu would ask this question to Prahlad, what is it that you have learned? What is it that most excited you? What was it that, is the best thing that you have learned? In the two interactions that Hiranyakashipu has with Prahlad, Prahlad gives such profound transcendental wisdom. And in the process of giving that transcendental wisdom, he also reveals his devotion, unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And Hiranyakashipu, first time he laughs this off, sends Prahlad back with Shanda and Amarka saying, make sure you check who's polluting the mind of Prahlad. But after some time, when Prahlad performs the same feat again by revealing his devotion, not only revealing his devotion, but when he's asked, Areva, from where you are getting, if Shanda and Amarka are saying nobody is infiltrating into the university, from where are you getting all this? Allah, very humble, very gentle, full of perfect example of a calm devotee. No matter what happens, what is said, never disturb. Always fully absorbed in meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj is the example of one who has perfected the smaranam process of devotional service. Remembrance, perfect remembrance. There's not so much mention of Prahlad sitting and doing japa. There's not so much, mention of Prahlad singing in kirtan. Because there are a few classes and a few interactions, but the primary process which Prahlad took shelter of was Prahlad. He was never forgetful of the Lord. And ultimately, that is the bottom line of devotional service, isn't it? Smartavya satatam vishnum vismartavya na jatachit sarve vidhi nisheda syur etayor eva kinkaraha. Shastra says, always remember Vishnu, never forget Vishnu. These are the two rules which are the bottom line of all spiritual practices. Which means at the end of the day, if one is always remembering the Lord, then thumbs up. If after following all rules and regulations and doing various things, one is not remembering or fixed on meditation on the Lord, what really is achieved? If you are performing japa, but we are not able to remember the Lord, if you are doing so much service physically, but our mind is not on the Lord, we are not really making that much spiritual advancement. But he whose mind is focused and not just thinking, but more specifically thinking with love and gratitude and with a service attitude, remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, they get the maximum benefit. And Prahlad was absorbed in such a consciousness. And will always be so self-satisfied. This is one of the characteristics of those who are experiencing a higher pleasure. They're not so bothered about what is happening around because they are not expecting any additional input to their consciousness which will actually nourish them or give them happiness besides the nature of their very self, the pure soul which has achieved pure devotion, so which is overflowing with love for the Lord. And that sense of overflowing with the love for the Lord is actually so deeply satisfying to the soul. Raso varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. All these other things are, like actually a disturbance. Let me just remain. Atma ramasya manoyo nirgrantha pirukrame kurvantya hetukim bhaktambuto gunohari. Is absorbed. So first interaction, wasn't too bothered. He was concerned. But he instructed Shanda Namarka in the second interaction. He was so upset. He pointed at Shanda Namarka and said, "You're not doing your job properly. Your yearly review will have negative ranking, negative marking. Your bonus will be cut." Shanda Namarka protested, "No, no, no. We have been watching over. Nobody has come." He also asked him. And it is just his natural devotion to Vishnu. So when finally Hiranyakashipu became awake to the fact that this is not actually an external thing, but naturally this boy is so attracted to Lord Hari, my arch enemy Lord Hari, whom I have taken a vow to kill, the most ardent devotee of my sworn enemy is my own son. What kind of intolerable situation, what kind of insult. So at this point, when Hiranyakashipu realized that the fault lies in Prahlad, not in Shanda Namarka, threw Prahlad from his lap down. Because Prahlad went to the extent of instructing Hiranyakashipu. Materialistic persons like you can never develop this natural Krishna consciousness which I have. Not by yourself, not by instruction from others, nothing. No hope. The only hope for living entities to revive their pure Krishna consciousness is when they smear over their body the dust of the feet of pure devotees who are completely free from material desires, material contamination. So this is also a very, very important verse, a very, very important principle. Those of us who are in the material world, all of us here, our tendency towards fruitive activity and at most towards liberation to become free from suffering is our primary attitude. The attitude of devotion, of finding joy in serving the Lord, is something, even though it is within the soul, it is so dormant that the tendency is not awakened unless it is incited, huh, triggered, lighted, and ignited by the blessings of a pure devotee. Shastras are very clear on this point. This is Srila Prabhupada also, even in terms of his books, he would often say, devotees would ask Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, why are you so keen that devotees go out on the streets with Bhagavad Gita and distribute Bhagavad Gita? Let's just keep them in bookstores and people will buy whoever has to buy. Prabhupada was very keen that no, the one who receives the book must come in contact with the devotee. But the devotee is the active agent of intervention in the life of a conditioned soul. The will of the devotee to give that mercy to that particular living entity makes him fortunate. It ignites that spark, that latent spark. And when there is the combination of that desire to give mercy along with some sukruti within the heart of that living entity, the sprout of devotional service will emerge. And that little positive inclination of, of loving service towards the Lord, even if initially it is just a very pale glimpse of a light. So when Prahlad was very direct in what he spoke, he wasn't very diplomatic in he told. He didn't just, see, like sometimes when we talk to others, they say, oh, you are also such a wonderful devotee. Actually, in our heart, we are thinking something else. Especially when somebody who's not devotee, we don't tell them on their face, you are a demoniac person. No, no. Prahlad wasn't particularly diplomatic in conveying the message. It's very correct. Neither can you do it, neither by instruction from others, nor by joint conferences. You're never going to be a devotee unless you smear on your body the dust of the feet of those who are completely free. You cannot attain pure devotion. And through Prahlad, instantly in Hiranyakashipu's mind, his way of looking at Prahlad transformed from my loving son, my greatest enemy. Instantly after throwing Prahlad down from his lap, eyes red like molten copper, instantly Hiranyakashipu instructed his guards, kill him. He deserves to be killed. As soon as possible, kill him. And he started accusing Prahlad like anything. He started saying, actually, Prahlad is the killer of my brother. Because he gave up our family tradition of being inimical to Vishnu and became a devotee of Vishnu, like a menial servant, this rascal Prahlad. Just see what kind of a vicious mentality Prahlad has. Our family's greatest enemy, he has become his ardent worshipper. Normally, a child who's just 5 years old is so affectionate to his father and mother. He knows nothing other than his father and mother. But look here at what kind of mentality this Prahlad is showing. He's so untrustworthy. If at 5 years old also he's an ardent devotee of his parents' enemy, then what to speak of later? What will happen? This Prahlad is very, very dangerous. Hiranyakashipu gives an example. It says, just like if there is a medicinal herb which can cure our disease, even though it is not from our home, it is from the deep inside the forest. But when we find it, because it's so valuable, we keep it so carefully. Even though it is from outside. But when something which is inside us, so much as so like a part of our body, a part of the hand or the leg, if that is poisoned by disease, if there is a gangrene in the hand or the foot, then to save oneself, one has to cut that piece of the body away, save oneself. So like this, O demons, this Prahlad is like a cancer which has gripped the society of demons. And hence it must be rejected, must be cut away. Just like uncontrolled mind is the enemy of the yogis, those who want to advance in spiritual life. So that Hiranyakashipu knew very well. Uncontrolled mind is the enemy of the yogis. Same way, because I cannot control Prahlad, Prahlad is my enemy. Because for me, my main safety factor is that I can control everyone. Now I am not able to control. Just see what he's talking. I cannot even make him my devotee. He is becoming devotee of my enemy Vishnu. So immediately, don't bother whether it's eating, sleeping, drinking, whatever, sitting, immediately kill him. So these kind of instructions of killing, destroying, burning, asuras get very excited. You tell them to sit for japa, attend Bhagavatam class, you will see a very tepid response. But when instructions are to kill, destroy, burn, they get very excited. That is the nature of the demons. The Rakshasas are very excited. They are very happy to hear this instruction. Immediately took their spears and tridents. All these demons who were surrounding Prahlad at that time, very, very fearful apparently. Sharp teeth, reddish eyes, coppery beards. They were very threatening and menacing, and they all approached Prahlad from all sides. They rushed towards him, shouting, chop him, kill him. Normally, in such a situation, one would expect child of 5 years, so crying, terrified, to be running away. But this little boy Prahlad, through this whole episode, even to the point of these demons rushing towards him to chop him, not at all disturbed, was still continuing to be peacefully absorbed in remembering Lord Hari. His meditation was not affected. Fully depending on the Lord, fully meditating. And to the surprise of these demons, even when they would hit him with the weapons, they were shocked to see that Prahlad was not even scratched a little bit. All their weapons. No matter how hard they tried to hit him and with what weapon they tried to hit him. Narad Muni, who's narrating this pastime to Yudhishthir Maharaj, is telling that just like a person who does not have any pious credits, not a very faithful religious person, even if he just externally performs some ritual, some religious activity, actually that activity will not bear any fruit because internally that person doesn't have any substance. Very interesting thing. It's an analogy, but it's a very interesting analogy. Which means just if we do a show of performing a sacrifice, doing a yajna, doing some austerity, but there is no proper faith, no proper backing of proper attitude, proper understanding, then one will not really get any result. Similarly, all the efforts of these demoniac soldiers to kill Prahlad failed. Although they tried, it did not produce. Prahlad was not bothered or affected when they were trying to kill him. He was not bothered or affected when they were striking him. He was just simply absorbed in the soul of the universe. So, guards of Hiranyakashipu were trying to kill Prahlad. They were shocked. What was going on? Hiranyakashipu is seeing all this. क्या हो रहा है? He never saw something like this. He's just a 5-year-old boy and he's not even fighting. He's not doing anything, but nothing is happening to him. He started realizing that these people are unable to kill Prahlad. He started getting worried. Something wrong. This is Hiranyakashipu started becoming fearful. Okay. Oh demons, let us try something else. You have tried to kill him with weapons, let us try something. So they said Hiranyakashipu first got him to be trampled under the feet of elephants. So this was a common punishment in olden times. Very, very ghastly. Elephants would come and crush a person. So they tried that. Details are not given how exactly it happened. Of course, sometimes different movies and different narrators will narrate it differently. Nothing happened to Prahlad. And then elephant would try to crush him. They put him into a pit full of poisonous snakes that they will bite. Prahlad will be killed. Poisonous snakes could use black magic on Prahlad and try to kill him. They threw him from the top of a hill. He'll fall on the ground and he'll break his bones and die. It's mentioned elsewhere in the Puranas that when he was thrown off the cliff, so wonderfully, you just simply remembering the Lord. He said Lord Hari personally appeared as he was falling from the cliff. Of his arms, he just held Prahlad, caught him, and gently put him on the ground. So happy to see that affectionate catching from his very dear eternal father, Lord Hari, Lord Narayan. So through all these mechanisms of attempts to kill him, Prahlad was always fully surrendered to the Lord. He was seeing everything. He would see Krishna in everything. He would see Krishna in all situations. And he had so much full faith that whatever Krishna wants will happen. I don't have to worry. That is the vision of an advanced devotee. An Uttama Bhakta. Prahlad is the example of a first class devotee. A first class devotee doesn't see anything other than Krishna everywhere. Whatever he sees, even when he looks around, he sees Krishna in everything and everything in connection with Krishna. Something different. In fact, he doesn't even see conditioned soul. He sees everything as wonderful and spiritual. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says a nice verse. I don't remember the words exactly. But Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that a pure devotee sees his deity everywhere, wherever he sees. Wherever he sees. Ishta Deva Spurti. Sees his Ishta, sees his worshipable deity, Sri Radhisham, everywhere, wherever he sees. So that is the evolution. The Mahabhagavat sees everything in connection. It doesn't see anything but Krishna. The Kanishta sees there is Krishna, this is me, and these are the others. A Madhyam Adhikari sees or tries to see everything in connection with Krishna. This is Krishna. These are Krishna's devotees. These are envious people whom I have to avoid. I am an eternal part and parcel. I must try to serve the Lord. These are innocent people whom I should help by preaching to them. So they see the connection with the Lord, but they are not on the same level as the Uttam Adhikari who practices. Sees the Lord everywhere, literally. Sees nothing exists beyond the Lord. Everything is part and parcel of the Lord. He has an active realization of that principle and he's seeing. That's why those who are at the Uttam Adhikari platform, they're not able to preach, because when you have that vision, how to preach? So that's why Uttam Adhikaris come down to the platform of Madhyam Adhikari to be able to preach. So that sense of discrimination is there, because without that, but it is very difficult to relate with the world at a very day-to-day practical level. Prahlad was always absorbed in that Uttam consciousness. So they hurled him from the top of a hill. They tried all kinds of mystical maya on him. They gave him poison to drink. They tried starving him to death, exposing him to severe heat, severe cold. They even tried to burn him in the fire. There's a very interesting episode. It's not mentioned here in this chapter in detail, but there is that very famous episode of Holika. Holika was the sister of Hiranyakashipu. And the whole family was famous for performing austerities and getting benedictions. She had a very special benediction from Brahmaji that fire would not affect her. So Brahmaji had put one condition that if you use this to hurt others, then this benediction will not work. So anyway, so she was thinking that she will burn Prahlad. So what she did was they put up a nice place, a platform for fire to be lit. So Holika took Prahlad. She affectionately called him, "Come, sit on my lap." Prahlad was sitting on the lap, remembering the Lord, absorbed. There was a fire lit. Fire. Prahlad was again, as usual, least bothered. Holika was thinking, I will not be affected by the fire, but Prahlad will be burned to ashes. As soon as the fire started increasing, Prahlad was peaceful, but Holika started screaming in agony as her body caught fire. She started screaming, "At the benediction, fire will not affect me." Brahmaji says, I told you, don't use it for the wrong purpose. You're using it to destroy the great devotee of the Lord. So Holika was burned and Prahlad was saved. We commemorate this particular festival of Holika Dahan as the holy festival. Holy festival where at the night of Purnima, there is this fire lit up. In India, it is quite common, at least in Mumbai. When I was growing up, it was very common. We would have almost in every residential colony, there would be a holy festivity. Holika Dahan. Then families would put one coconut into the fire. So Holika, the symbol of evil. Whatever is evil within us, let that be burned in this fire. So that is the meditation. So Holika died. Whatever Hiranyakashipu was trying, every option was failing. They tried to sink him into the ocean. What they would do is they would put him into the ocean, then put a big stone on him so that it doesn't rise up to the surface. Eventually the Lord will come and release him. Suddenly he'll be outside and they'll be wondering, how did this Prahlad come suddenly appear outside? So no matter what Hiranyakashipu did, Prahlad didn't die. And throughout this whole episode, Prahlad was neither disturbed, nor was he protesting, nor was he using some weapons, nor was he using some mystic power to oppose or destroy or anything. So when Hiranyakashipu found out that in no way he is able to harm Prahlad, even little bit, he started getting very what to do next. I have practically tried all options: fire, poison, weapons, curses, elephants, snakes, everything. So Hiranyakashipu then started to get worried. No matter what I'm doing, it's not dying. It seems that he has some kind of immense power which keeps him protected. His own powers are saving him, and I don't know what those powers are, and I cannot figure out how to counteract them. He doesn't seem to be the least affected. He's so absolutely fearless, the son Prahlad, that his fearlessness is instilling fear in me. Now I am fearing that if I cannot straighten my son Prahlad from his devotional attitude to become a demon, because my son Prahlad is behaving like a dog's tail. No matter how much I'm trying to straighten him, it's again down. He's trying to make him a demon, devotee. Demon, devotee. He's trying, but he's not able to do anything. Our problem is opposite, right? With great effort, we straighten our tail to remember Krishna for a few moments. Then little inattention, the tail becomes our consciousness, the tail of our consciousness becomes teda. Again back to matter. Then we remember, oh, again I became artistic. Oh, again straighten it. Prahlad himself said, why my consciousness is attracted towards Lord Vishnu just like iron filings are attracted towards a magnet helplessly. I cannot just even control. So that's also a very interesting lesson. Prabhupada would often say that in one's natural state, the consciousness is irresistibly attracted to Krishna. Why our consciousness currently is not attracted to Krishna? We are actually, if Krishna is so attractive, why we are not attracted? If we are like iron filings and Krishna is a powerful magnet, because our iron filings have got rust. Iron filings are covered with the contamination of rust, which is actually our lust. Then the attractive power of the magnet is impacted. And cleanse our hearts. Cheto darpanama arjanam bhava mahadava agninamapanam Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam. The heart is cleansed. Automatically one's attraction towards Krishna will be naturally manifest. I am not able to fix Prahlad. I want him to become demoniac. He's becoming devotional. Trying. He's not forgetting Vishnu no matter what. And he's not even becoming angry with me, even though I am doing all kinds of nonsense to kill him. So peaceful. I can see that the power of this boy is practically unlimited. I am so great, but I cannot estimate his power. He is not even fearful of my punishments. When the greatest of devatas are fearful of me, but my own son is not even fearful of what I am doing. This is actually very worried and scared. And he started fearing that if he continued this kind of persecution, somehow felt that it would lead to his own death. Somehow had that fear that, if I overdo this more, maybe somehow Vishnu will come and annihilate me upfront in some way. So he suddenly got that doubt and he became very fearful. So when he was thinking like this and he was in this uh, light of what to do in this situation, should I still continue to try to kill him or should I stop? And what is the pros and cons of this? Chanda and Amarka understood this debacle of the king of Daityas and they came to him. Hiranyakashipu was sitting down on his throne without any lackluster, full of worry, full of anxiety, his face looking downward. So Chanda and Amarka approached Hiranyakashipu. Great Lord, not worry, you are so powerful. Your power is so great. You just raise your eyebrows, the devatas are trembling in fear. Without anybody's help, you have conquered the three worlds. Your power is so unlimited. Why are you so anxious and morose? Yeah, I know. I understand that Prahlad is difficult to kill. But why are you so keen to kill Prahlad? He's just a small boy after all. Is he acting inimical towards you? Is he trying to kill you? Is he trying to do anything? He's just a child. His so-called devotion to Vishnu is also his childish attitude. Don't take him seriously. Don't bother. You see so much you did. Where is he fighting against you? Is he trying to kill you? Is he trying to even kill your soldiers who are trying to kill him? No, he's so peaceful and happy. He's such a nice boy. So just chill. Don't be so disturbed. Just leave him alone for now. We will worry about later. Right now, he's not actually challenging you. Right now, he's not trying to kill you. And for a child like this, why you are taking his speech and his devotional qualities so seriously? Either the bad or the good qualities of a very small child doesn't matter because they're all just childishness. Just wait. Right now, our father, the great teacher Shukracharya, is away on a trip somewhere. As soon as he comes, let's discuss the thing. We'll sort out, and then he is so wise. He will be able to advise. Meanwhile, you just manage Prahlad. Maybe if you want, you can tie him up with the Varuna Pash so that he will not run away anywhere. Anyway, we are sure, that as he starts growing up, all this childishness and his so-called attraction, this Vishnu will go away. Children are like that. When they are very young, they speak all kinds of things. Correct? Very small children, they say all kinds of things. Very small, they say, I want to be pilot, I want to be truck driver. What do you want to be when you grow up? Be truck driver. Father, children, and the parents will laugh. They laugh because they know he's so childish. He just doesn't even understand what he's saying. After he grows up, if he says truck driver, then the parents will slap him. Why don't you get a degree and get a good job? By the way, nothing against truck drivers. I'm just saying this is how educated people nowadays think. So, don't take him so seriously. So, Shukracharya will come, he'll advise, as he grows, Allah himself will overcome. There is no immediate threat for you. We are just being unnecessarily over anxious. Just chill pill. Just take it cool. Anyway, you cannot do anything, right? You have already reached your wit's end. Why you are trying to make the situation worse? You yourself are fearful that something may happen and suddenly Vishnu may intervene and all that. So just give it a break. So Hiranyakashipu also thought that, yeah, I mean, whatever they are saying is also true. Anyway, there is nothing more I can try. I have tried practically everything I could. So he said, okay, let's do that. Let's just give a pause to this various enterprises to kill Prahlad and take him back to school. As you are saying, maybe as he's growing up a little bit, his childishness will go away. And please continue to teach him dharma, artha, and kama, the materialistic way of life. Chandana Martha, yeah. Prahlad was, as always, very peaceful, not bothered. Prahlad wasn't keen that his father be killed. Prahlad was so surrendered to the Lord, whatever the Lord wishes. If the Lord wants me to die, let me die. If the Lord wants me to live, I will live. Prahlad did not think in terms of friend and enemy. In fact, all the time he was complaining to Shanda and Amarka, isn't it? When they were trying to teach him, he said, what kind of duality you are teaching? I see everything as the Lord and his energies, everything to be used in the Lord's service. What is there beyond the Lord? Everything is his manifestation. Why are you teaching me in terms of friend and enemy? That is the vision of those who are in illusion. Never attracted by that kind of vision. Because you clearly see how that kind of vision is not only not true, but that itself is the cause of all suffering. Bhaya dvitiya vineshita buddhir syat. The fear of material existence is because of the vision of this duality, because of not seeing one's connectedness with the Lord and the connection of everything with the Lord. The impersonalists speak of oneness, that they try to say everything is one. But the devotees of the Lord also speak of oneness, not that everything is one, but there is nothing beyond the Lord and his energies. Everything is connected, everything is dependent on him, and everything is to be used for his service. What is there beyond him? Matta partaram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjay. There are two ways in which this verse can be interpreted. There is no truth superior to me. There is one way. The other way to understand this verse is because the Lord is the Lord and his energies, because the energies of the Lord are not also outside the Lord. They are Shakti and Shaktiman. Even though they have become two, they are originally one. So all the energies of the Lord, material, spiritual, and the tatastha, the jivas, are ultimately part of the Lord's energies, and in that sense, part of the Lord, not the Lord, but part of the Lord, not independent of the Lord, not beyond the Lord. He was never interested in teachings of duality because he could understand that the vision of duality is the cause of fear, it's the cause of misery. Hiranyakashipu was very keen that this kind of duality vision is something which Chanda and Amarka have to work harder to instill in Prahlad. Chanda and Amarka took Prahlad back to school and continued their efforts to instill in him Artha, Dharma, Kama. But Prahlad, as usual, he absorbed in thinking of the Lord. Their classes would go on. He would pretend as if he's listening, but he was least interested. He was very clear in his understanding. He was never interested in the materialistic way of life because he knew very clearly by direct realization that the materialistic way of life simply keeps one in the cycle of birth, old age. So this continued day after day, month after month, continued to be in school. But something very interesting happened after this episode. It is said Prahlad was in school, but when Shanda and Amarka would conduct classes, then between classes, there will be breaks, recess time, play time, and all these boys, including Prahlad, would get break time. And then when there would be break time, all the children in the school would be playing. This is what children do, right? There's a break, children will rush out of the classroom, go into the playground, and do all kinds of things. I remember even as all kinds of games will invent and create and play. As soon as teachers are away, the children will be busy in some kind of entertaining activities. So it is said whenever Shanda and Amarka would be away from class, all the students of the same age of Prahlad, his classmates, come to him. Come, Prahlad, let us play, let us have a good time. We are going to play this, we are going to do this. Prahlad was, very peaceful, not be very excited to play and all this. Just tell his friends in a very sweet language my dear friends, this materialistic life that you are trying to pursue and that you are being taught is all very useless. And Prahlad's personality was so attractive. A person who's carrying the Lord within his heart, the divinity of their qualities, their compassion, the love which emerges from their heart makes their personality so attractive. All the friends of Prahlad, they would be so attracted towards Prahlad. Prahlad would start speaking, start sharing with them transcendental wisdom. All gather around Prahlad. They became very inquisitive to hear from Prahlad what Prahlad had to say. Narad Muni tells Yudhishthira Maharaj that his children were not only very affectionate to Prahlad as a friend, because Prahlad was so free from inimical feelings. A person who is free from inimical feelings is dear to everybody. And this is why those who are very advanced in spiritual consciousness, they're dear to everybody. Hira dhira janau priya priya karau nirmat sarau pujita. Six Goswamis said they were dear to all because non-envious. Those who are nirmatsara. Because in our heart we have this attitude, I like him, like this, that devotees like this. So we give out these vibrations of liking some people, not liking some people. So we create these kind of energies. So we don't become likable to everybody. Those who are just giving out vibrations of love, where their heart is overflowing for love for the Lord and with the vision that every living entity is part and parcel of the Lord and they are emanating that love and radiating that love towards everyone, everyone becomes attracted. Narad Muni tells Yudhishthira Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj started speaking to his children. His children were very affectionate and also very respectful to Prahlad. They were listening very carefully. And the good thing about these children, Narad Muni says, that even though they were in the school of demons, they were still very young. They were not so contaminated with materialistic subjects. They were still very young students. So when Prahlad would start giving these Bhagavatam classes, the children would give up their play and come and gather and stick around. Their hearts and eyes would be fixed on Prahlad. They would look at him with great eagerness. Prahlad would give all these wonderful spiritual devotional lessons to them about the futility of material existence and what is the greatest welfare, which is to become a devotee of Krishna. That brings us to the end of this chapter, where now the pastime takes a different turn. Hiranyakashipu tried everything to kill Prahlad, failed, sent him back to school. Now something interesting is happening in school, that Prahlad is not just a devotee to himself, but he has also started giving Bhagavatam class in his school. The problem for the demons is now going to, that we will discuss next class, in the next chapter, where the chapter itself entitled Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. So what Prahlad would teach his friends, that we will discuss in greater detail. Prahlad's teachings. Prabhupada had one small book called The Teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. So it's predominantly from this chapter where what it is that Prahlad taught his very, very powerful instructions. Then eventually what that led to and how it eventually escalated the conflict that Hiranyakashipu felt, Shanda and Amarka felt towards. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Shri Prabhupada. Questions or comments? Okay, so thank you all very much. Let us pray to Prahlad Maharaj that by his blessings we can develop the qualities that Prahlad Maharaj so wonderfully demonstrated. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagavan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Gaurav. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Thank
Thank
Prabhu.
you,
you,
Prabhu.
Archana
Hare
ji.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Anand Sundari Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Tarun, Prabhu,
Hare
Hari
Krishna,
Hari.
Prabhu.
Good, you
Thank you,
managed to
Prabhuji.
come back. Thank you, Srini ji, Sridevi ji,
Hare Krishna,
Amit.
Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hari Hari. Sachi Prema Mataji, thank you very much. I'll see you all on Tuesday. So we'll continue our discussion on the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you.